War. It is a word that conjures images of smoke, fire, and steel. We think of wars that last years, maybe a decade. The 100 Years' War feels long, but compared to history's true marathon, it is a skirmish. Imagine a war so long empires rose and fell while it raged. It began with swords and spears and ended on the cusp of a new world. This is not fantasy, this is the Reconquista, the reconquest, a struggle for the Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal. From the year 718 to 1492, 774 years, Rome long gone, the Vikings not yet at sea. To grasp it, you have to zoom out. We begin in 711. The Visigothic kingdom was in chaos. Civil war. Across the narrow strait, a new power rose. The Umayyad Caliphate saw opportunity. Tariq ibn Ziyad led Berber forces into Iberia. At Guadalete, they broke the Visigothic army and killed King Roderick. City after city fell. A conquest was underway. They called it Al-Andalus. Christian remnants retreated into the northern mountains. From the fog emerges Pelayo. He refused to submit. At Covadonga, a small force used terrain to rout a larger army, militarily small. Symbolically, an earthquake, a spark of hope. The resistance was not dead. The Reconquista had begun. A clash of worlds would define generations. The early centuries were a slow, painful crawl. A brutal frontier war, village by village, castle by castle. A depopulated buffer, the Duero Desert, split two worlds. Meanwhile, Cordoba blossomed into a global city. A center of science, medicine, philosophy, and art. A complex, cosmopolitan society unlike the rough northern frontier. Alliances shifted constantly across faith lines. El Cid himself fought for pay, sometimes for Muslim emirs. The caliphate fractured into rival taifas. Christian kings demanded pariahs, heavy tribute in gold. They built castles and enlarged armies with that wealth. The slow crawl became a determined march. Castile, Aragon, Portugal, and Navarre picked off taifas one by one. The momentum shifted, but the struggle was far from over. Then the Almoravids, and later the Almohads, crossed from North Africa. They reunited Muslim Iberia and drove the Christians back. Epic set-piece battles followed. In 1086 at Sagrajas, Alfonso VI was crushed. In 1195 at Alarcos, another heavy blow. As long as help came from Africa, the war ground on. In 1212, a crusade gathered. Kings and knights from across Europe marched south. At Las Navas de Tolosa, they broke the Almohad center. The Almohad Empire crumbled. Cordoba fell in 1236, Valencia 1238, Seville 1248. By mid-13th century, only Granada remained. The endgame would take centuries. Beyond kings and battles, ordinary life was fear. Raids burned fields and drove off herds. Captives vanished into slavery. Soldier and civilian blurred. Survival meant fighting. Periods of convivencia gave way to intolerance. Faith hardened the rhetoric on both sides. El Cid, Rodrigo Diaz, exiled, became a mercenary. He fought Christians and Muslims, then took Valencia. Allegiance was personal as much as pious. Slave markets in both realms thrived on raids and ransom. Captives labored, served, or awaited ransom. The human cost defies counting. For centuries the frontier bled. And still the line moved. After the 13th century surge, a tense stalemate set in. Granada survived by tribute and terrain. The Christian kingdoms often fought themselves. Everything changed in 1469, a marriage. Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon united a new superpower. In 1482 they launched a systematic campaign. With new cannons and logistics, they took fortresses one by one. The final act, the Siege of Granada. With rescue impossible, Boabdil surrendered. On January 2, 1492, the Catholic monarchs entered the city. After 774 years, Iberia was under Christian rule. Promises to preserve faith and custom were broken. Within a decade, Muslims faced conversion or exile, Jews the same in 1492. Why care about a war that ended 5 centuries ago? Because 1492 was a beginning. Spain turned outward to the world. Conquistadors, forged by the Reconquista, carried faith, tactics, and ruthlessness overseas. Empires rose, a global Reconquista. The legacy endures in architecture. Mosques turned cathedrals. In language, thousands of Arabic words in Spanish. In identities and politics. The Reconquista is invoked, sometimes to unite, sometimes to divide. Conflicts ripple for centuries, shaping nations and worlds. Faith, land, identity entwine until causes fade, leaving inherited hatreds. Understanding the Reconquista is to see the roots of the modern West. A stark reminder, the past is never truly past, it is not even history.